Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of To Be Honest with Megan and Jimmy. I'm Jimmy Feeman, and this is Megan, my co host. We are the co founders of No Bigs Cookie Dough, and we are here to talk to you guys about everything consumer and whatnot. So,
We're taking a little break from the no baked specific topics because it's been quite a week. So,
yeah, and we haven't done this podcast in like 6 weeks because we get busy. So we figured it would be best to try to make it a little bit more like evergreen by doing current news topics. So you guys would hear our reactions on everything happening in the consumer world and then maybe a little bit about what's happening with us with No Baked. So Megan brought no topics today. I have topics for us to talk about. So my first one is a fan favorite, and I think everyone will love to hear this portion of the episode. So we all know that P. Diddy, who happens to be a really big person in consumer, not just music,
yeah.
has associated with a lot of different brands he started, brands that he represents. He is being sued for sexual abuse in a very detailed way. He also had complaints filed against him by the Department of Homeland Security and the DOJ. So the guy is into some shady stuff, sex trafficking, like basically doing the Harvey Weinstein. If I said that even, I don't even think I pronounced that guy's name right. He's basically some kind of like merger between like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. So everyone with the Steen except P. Diddy, the diddler himself.
Yeah.
Well, how do you? So the question is, how do you think that impacts the consumer brands that he's associated with? Like, if you were, one of the people running Ciroc vodka, what do you do if you're in that situation? And like, how would you react if you were put in that spot? Because I know that I would be upset.
Yeah. I think, first off, I think this revelation is not necessarily surprising. Like, I just want to get that out of the way. Like,
So you think the brand's new?
no, I don't think the brand's new. I don't think they necessarily, well,
There's
that's
ain't no
tough to
party
say,
like a Diddy
actually.
party.
I don't actually know who's running the brands, but if they're friends with Diddy or were at any point, they may be new. But I think the reason why there's all these conspiracies about like celebrities and people in Hollywood and like the Illuminati and all that weird stuff is because there are weird things going on in the background with the powerful celebrities, not all of them, obviously, but with people like Diddy, and people know it. And then that's how those conspiracies begin. And so hearing that someone like Diddy, who's extremely wealthy and powerful in the entertainment industry and then consumer goods, was doing things like that is not surprising to me. What's so surprising is that it goes back so far, so many years, and so many other very high profile people like Usher, people who you don't really loop into that weird group of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think as far as the brands, I would love to say that they're going to suffer from it because that's what I want to happen. I want them to suffer. I want sales to go down. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you can use someone like Kanye West as an example. Kanye West has said terrible things
Horrific.
about multiple different groups of people. And he's done ridiculous things in public. Like, he's not a great person and everyone knows it, but there are tons of people who buy his products all the time. Young people, people who are of the groups that he has targeted, people who aren't. Like, he hasn't suffered. He hasn't suffered from being a terrible person, and because of that, I think like maybe Diddy will see a dip in sales, but probably not.
So do you think this morning I saw a headline, and I don't know if it's true or not because I saw it on social media. Could be fake.
Yeah, it could always be fake.
But it was posted by 50 Cent that Ciroc was going to ask him to be their new spokesperson to replace P Diddy.
That
do you think
cannot be true? First
I know.
off.
It's probably not. But do you really think? Do you think they'll try to make a pivot, or do you think they'll do like the full Kanye and be like, here I am, this is me?
I think they probably will stay silent until maybe there's like a trial or more like public speaking, like until it gets to a point where there's no more denying or covering it up or anything like that. I think they'll probably stay silent till then. And then maybe they'll pull like a Bud Light and and be like,
Yeah, you do a 180.
we
you sponsor
didn't
Shane Gillis.
mean this to happen like this, blah blah blah, like we're sorry. But maybe not. I don't know. How many people were buying Ciroc because it was Diddy's brand?
Well, probably not.
Just
So
vodka.
that's kind of my next question for you is how do you think this impacts like brand owners looking at like giving up a ton of equity or putting a lot of faith in like some kind of like famous person that's going to come save them?
I think brand owners should be really cautious about it, like extremely cautious about who they are picking. It would have to be someone pretty evergreen. Like you haven't done anything wrong. Your opinions are basically, straight down the middle. Like everyone understands where you're coming from, like no extreme actions and probably no controversy unless your brand is comfortable with being on that side of things. Does that make sense? Like if I was gonna, first off,
what would you do?
Well, I'm not a huge
Would
fan.
you let P Diddy be the spokesman?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. But before all of this, he didn't really even fit the brand. Like
It's fair.
I'll
come up with a different person.
To start with, I, as a brand founder, am very hesitant about giving up a ton of equity to just a spokesperson for just promo in return. Like I'm very hesitant of that just because you don't know what's going to come of it. Could be a bad decision. And there's not like cash or anything to make up for that.
And we don't see a lot of influencer brands succeed.
No.
Most fail.
Most like if you have your own brand and then it's backed by a celebrity, I've rarely seen that make a big difference. Like I've rarely seen that drive sales. So I would be hesitant to start with, but if it was something I was considering, I would definitely be asking a lot of questions, looking into every single article that's ever been written about them.
Would you background check them?
No, I don't think so. I think with a celebrity,
if it was P Diddy, would you go to one of his parties? Then you would know.
Probably,
what kind of weird shit was going down.
Yeah, I think you should try to get into their social circle first. Then if someone's like, you shouldn't stay at this party past 1 a.m., you're like, oh.
Yeah. So that's when the Illuminati ceremony happens.
Like that's when you know something crazy is happening. But yeah, I think it should make people be very cautious about having a celebrity spokesperson.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'd love to get your thoughts on like a good thing in the influencer space. Mm-hmm. This is not necessarily like new news, but it's just kind of like there's controversy and there's bad things that happen and there's a lot of people that fail and struggle. And then there's Susan Yara, who is the YouTuber and influencer that founded Naturium. It's a makeup brand. Her YouTube channel was Mixed Makeup, and they sold the company for $355 million after being in business for just 4 years, which is incredible. Yeah. They grew sales from $0 to $90 million. Elf Beauty acquired them for all cash. It seems like it's kind of like the dream story of every founder that never works out, but it worked out in this case. Do you have thoughts about like how it can like actually work? Or do you think that's just kind of like a one-time thing?
No, I don't think it's a one-time thing. I think it just really depends on what the product is. Like that girl, I'm assuming, got her following because she posted videos of her doing makeup. And so she had this talent, which is being really good at applying makeup. And then she released a product that then said to her followers, you buy this product and you also can do your makeup like this. You can look like I look. And I think that makes more sense than like, I'm a celebrity and I drink this brand of vodka. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everyone's getting the same drunk from a vodka bottle. There's not really some advantage to a celebrity saying that about a drink or a food or a snack. Um, so I think it depends on the product. Makeup makes sense to me. I think that's why Kylie Cosmetics was is so successful because people looked at Kylie Jenner and they were like, she looks so different
That's
than
true.
she looked before. And then she's posting videos of her doing her makeup and like overlining her lips with her lip kits. And it's like all these girls are like, I want to look like that
And
too.
then it turned out that those lip kits would burn your lips. No offense.
So yeah, I think it depends on the product. I think there are times when it can be really good,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
but just not with every category of
Um,
product.
do you want to guess how old Susan is?
Um, 20.
Oh my God, you're so under. I looked up how old she was
How
because
old
I
is
was
she?
interested. She was born in 1981, so that makes
Oh,
her 42. So good for
wow.
her.
Yeah, I was expecting some crazy young YouTuber.
No, dude, she's really good at doing makeup. It's giving inspiration to all those moms out there. She was
Yeah.
born in Seoul, South Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. Um, good for her. All right, moving on to something else that's fun. Um, California just announced, and that this, really impacts people like us because we run fast casual shops. Granted, we would not be impacted by this minimum wage hike, but California has put into effect their $20 minimum wage. And I have a personal take on it, which I'd love you to react to. I think that by raising the $20 minimum wage at chains, which it was like chains that have like more than like 50 restaurants. So
Uh huh.
more than 50 restaurants, you have to pay people $20 an hour. It seems fair. Um, the problem is if someone was working for No Baked and we had like one or two scoop shops in California and we weren't paying people $20 an hour, we're going to get all the worst employees.
Yeah.
That's my take. I think it's a bad, really, really bad thing for small businesses. I think that the large businesses will not have trouble paying people $20 an hour. If they did, they would just raise prices. And there was a study that came out that said they just have to raise menu prices by 3% to offset the wage increase. So they were already paying people,
Anyone would have to, or just the big chains?
just the big chains. So they're already paying people enough. They're already doing fine. When you have chain scale, as you know, because you've been in the industry, it becomes a lot easier to make 5% profit per store instead of
Mm-hmm.
we have to make 20% profit per store in order to like survive. So I just think it's really bad for small businesses, and I'd love your take on it because I think that a lot of people were really excited about it who don't necessarily think through the first, second, and third order effects of like let's increase the minimum wage and see what happens. I think that it's probably long term really bad for the small business owner. And there's already been so many places in LA that have been ravaged by the pandemic and closed and are never opening again. So many small businesses or small taco shops or like whatever it might be that was like a family owned, family run business that is no longer, or like a deli. There is a specific deli, and I can't even remember what it is, but I had heard about it maybe on like Joe Rogan or something like that. They were like, yeah, it's not there anymore. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
sad. And I think that this just will continue to have a really bad impact on like small business.
Yeah. Um, I have mixed emotions on it. I think, oh man, it's really tough. I think it's not an unfair requirement in the state of California to require that people are paid $20 an hour because the cost to live there is so extremely high.
Do you think it should have been across the board?
Yeah. I don't think there should be exceptions. I think if I was, let's say I owned, you know, two locations of no baked like I do right now, but they just happen to be in California instead of Tennessee. I would be raising my wage to $20 also, even though I didn't have to. And then the issue is I would also be raising all of my menu prices across the board by the same percentage that I increased the wages, which means the consumers suffer.
Yeah, and
And
today for no
because,
bake, that'd probably be 25%.
right, and there may be some other chains who are big who have this requirement that don't have to raise their prices as high as you because, things are cheaper when you're buying so much of it or whatever the case may be. It just might be cheaper for them to operate. And so then will the consumer choose them over you because your prices are high? Maybe. And that could cause small businesses to close. But not all small businesses are sustainable. It's a really sad thing coming from me, who's in the food industry and who has scoop shops. I'd love to say, like, every restaurant should be able to make it, every restaurant should be successful, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, it's really hard to be successful as a restaurant, and sometimes you just have to close. And I think if you're in California and you can't pay your staff $20 an hour, you either need to charge more for what you're selling or there just might not be a place for you in that ecosystem of businesses.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I
But
mean,
I can't imagine someone living in California and not making $20 an hour. Like, it's just not reasonable. You'd have to fix every other part of that state for it to make sense to
yeah,
pay
but
someone less
you're never
than that.
decreasing the price of things.
No,
In case everyone was wondering if that would happen, it's never happening.
I do think a lot of the chains, and I think I heard that they already did, but will lay off a decent amount of employees and they'll expect a lot more of their hourly employees, which honestly is probably what I would do too,
Yeah, I
especially
mean,
as a small business.
long term, I think automation and AI will like solve the problem.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, for the business owner, and the hope I think will be that like people are able to find more and more jobs that they actually enjoy and things that they enjoy doing. Because yeah, I mean, I've never heard anyone say that they're like passionate about working at McDonald's.
No. But I mean, places like McDonald's have already implemented like automated ordering. Panera does it. Like, you walk up to a machine and you order, but sometimes if you go in Panera, they have a staff member that's staffed just to take people's order. Like, eliminate that person.
Goodbye,
You know what
cashier.
I mean? Like, force people to order on the tablets. Everybody should know how to do that by now. So
True.
it's just gonna be interesting to see. Either a lot of places will fail or they'll adapt, which is what you have to do as an entrepreneur if you're gonna make it anyway. So if
That's
I
true.
owned no baked there, I would definitely change how we were doing things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess that's like the most nuanced version of like what I was like talking about. And it's true. You do have to adapt to survive, and it is sad, and it might sound kind of mean, but like if you suck, then you will fail.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not your fault if you suck. It just, a lot of bad things all like come together at once. All right, last topic. Cocoa prices have soared to the moon. This impacts me.
Yeah.
I went to buy 25-pound boxes of chocolate chips the other day, and the boxes of chocolate chips I was buying, they were $58 for a 25-pound box of chocolate chips, which is not a great price, but it's a price. And it has been essentially about the same since 2017 when we started.
Yeah.
As we've bought in bulk, the price has come down a little slowly, but it's also gone back up because of like slight inflation in cocoa. I went to buy chocolate chips the other day, and they were $89 a box. I was shocked. I was confused. I called Megan, and I complained. But I went ahead and bought them anyways because I can't not buy chocolate chips to make all of the chocolate chip cookie dough we send to you guys. So yeah, I looked into that, and apparently there has been a GameStop situation with the cocoa market. Cocoa prices have been short squeezed, and there also was a really bad harvest in somewhere in West Africa, and I don't know
Yeah, I
which
can't
country it
remember
is
what
that
you
produces
said.
most of the cocoa, but I know that like about
Like Ghana,
50%,
maybe?
it's Ghana, yeah. Ghana's cocoa harvest is bad, but about 50% of the cocoa in the world is produced in West Africa. West Africa had a bad harvest, about a 50% reduction in supply. You would have thought basic economics that would shoot the price up about 2x. The price has gone up about 5x because there has been a short squeeze, because it isn't a very active market on the Chicago exchange. Um, so yeah, I think that's going to be bad. And I don't have like many other thoughts about it, but it's wild how like the financial market continues to commit fuckery with what would have been like not so bad of a problem has become exacerbated.
Yeah.
Either good or bad. It seems like, you know, you could buy into like a crypto coin, it can go to the moon, or you can have something like this happens that causes like extreme inflation, or home prices because of speculation and leverage and a lot of printed money go up
The question is
50%.
like, it was a one-time issue that caused it, but like, will it come down? Like, will, once there's good harvest and the supply is not the way it is, will it come down or will it just be a continuous?
It's a good question because we've never seen anything like this in the cocoa market before. And a lot of bar manufacturers have been saying that they're considering reducing the size of their chocolate bars. And I don't think that they would go back on that decision.
No, they would just keep it, and now customers would pay more for chocolate.
Yeah, I don't think at the
Permanently.
consumer end that anyone will ever like adjust down. Like during inflation, like or the heavy inflation that we experienced, wheat prices went up because of the war, because of like overall inflation. Wheat prices, for anyone that actually buys products and uses wheat to make them like we do, like knows that they have come back down. Wheat is no longer that big of an issue. Sugar prices have continued to rise for the last like 6 years. Don't get me started on sugar, but for the most part, like commodity prices fluctuate up and down, just like oil or gold or anything else. They don't necessarily always just go up. And I don't think that happens with consumer products.
Yeah.
I think once you've priced it high, you don't necessarily go down. You just say like, oh, look, more margin. Do you think that's like good or bad, or what are your thoughts on that? What would you do, or what will you do as the person that has a product that, you know, gets chocolate chips put into it?
I think I will try to keep it the same and then adjust if it's a permanent issue. You know?
What would you ever adjust down?
No.
There you have it, folks.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't, because
Another greedy entrepreneur.
once you get customers paying an amount for something, it's like, well, I'm not going to go back.
Yeah, and that's
Make
the
less.
value that they see in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not a great situation, but it's what we've been handed.
Yeah. More inflation, higher wages, higher cost of goods,
I am
higher
curious,
prices for you.
I'm curious though, what was your opinion on like the Diddy thing, and like, do you think that's gonna affect brands?
No, I don't. I don't think some people are cancelable. I don't think that people care about sex trafficking. I don't know why. And when I say they don't care, guys, I really just mean like they, in the same way that I don't think Gen Z cares about like the environment.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you say you care about emissions and then you shop on Shein. And I can't get my head off that topic.
Yeah, they're also the ones who are still buying Yeezys.
Yeah.
Even though he's
I'm
intolerant.
This is going to sound really bad, but like of all the people, like if you're like a Jewish 16-year-old high school kid, please like think about why you're wearing your Yeezys.
Yeah.
Out and about.
It makes no sense.
It makes me sad. It pissed me off maybe more than like a lot of other people. I think that his ability to continue to make money and perpetuate his brand is crazy. Also, speaking of Kanye, he was sued. Also, that's another topic that I found out about today. Sued for things that he did at Donda Academy, or I guess Donda Academy is getting sued for all kinds of crazy shit. You can go look into that on your own because I don't know what the crazy shit is, and
I can only imagine.
I don't want to say things that are fake and spread false information. I do that enough, and I should stop. But yeah, I mean, these people go and they continue to do terrible things,
Yeah,
and make
nothing
bad
happens.
decisions, and then continue to make money. And it makes me question why people care about certain things and not other things. And then you see things like what happened with Bud Light, and that has had a meaningful impact on sales, and it has not recovered. So it makes you question what like people really like, what really motivates the consumer. And I think for them, this is my like hot take on it. I think for the most part, first of all, it has to be your audience, right?
Yeah.
So like people are drinking vodka. I don't know if they care about sexual assault, but maybe they don't. And then let's take Bud Light. The people that were drinking Bud Light clearly cared about the message that Bud Light was sending, and they took it as some kind of personal attack, in my opinion, on like their children. So like for some reason that conversation has got it's got intermixed with this conversation around like you're trying to turn all of the kids gay, which I don't really buy into, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. But for some reason the Bud Light consumer saw it that way.
Except for me, I'm a Bud Light consumer.
Well,
don't
Megan,
forget it.
yeah, well, so most of their consumers saw it as an attack on their children, and they reacted in turn. I think if Diddy was trafficking more kids, we'd see a bigger reaction. It sounds so bad, but it's kind of true. I mean, he was trafficking adults and maybe some underage people, but he was out at Topgolf with his kids, having a good old time.
Recently?
Chilling, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's having fun.
That's wild.
He's enjoying himself. Ain't no party like a Diddy party, as they say. And that is why I would have taken him on as a spokesperson, because ain't no party like a Diddy party. I mean, if you're gonna like kill it, you've got to like throw parties like Revolve. You got to get the people there. You got to get the people motivated and excited to buy your stuff, whatever that stuff is. The man can sell anything.
Yeah.
But that's why you could sell vodka with a celebrity like that. If I was gonna sell liquor, I'd get a crazy person.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
and
I want a
even bad
degenerate.
things would not really matter because
Yeah, no.
you're selling alcohol.
The people that are buying alcohol, when they're buying the alcohol to party in like Nashville or Miami or LA, they're trying to relive out their dream that looks a lot like the Wolf of Wall Street, but in their life. So it's different, but it's almost the same.
Yeah.
So like, you see scenes from the movie and people are doing coke and they're drinking and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And you're like, I want to do that too. And then you get a spokesperson who's like, you too can be like me, the Wolf of Wall Street, and I drink this vodka. And then everyone would be like, that's my vodka, or, know your audience. So for cookie dough, not sure what, yeah, I see that. Not sure what you would do for cookie dough. We haven't taken on any influencers, but if I did, I want them to make their audience feel that they too could eat cookie dough all day and look incredible. It'd be something like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Diddy. I think that he will continue to just be there. He also wasn't really the face of any of the brands.
No.
But he did provide a lot, it seems, of direction. Because there's a lot of playbook there.
I mean, they're also his brands.
That's true.
Like he started them, so it's.
I don't think he doesn't own majority share in a lot of them anymore.
Oh really?
Yeah, got bought out. I imagine private equity get that bag. Yeah, cool.
All right, kids. Next time I'll come with topics.
Megan will come with topics, so it'll be less boring. Okay, so to wrap up, do you have any what good things happened to you this week?
Gosh, did anything good happen? No. I take a pottery class, so I made 6 pieces this week, which is pretty good.
That's
for
pretty
how
cool.
hard it is. Professionally, I don't think anything good happened. There's
great.
some pending good stuff and good stuff that will happen, but this week was just definitely a rough one in the world of being an entrepreneur. So
hey, it was mostly rough for me. I'm in charge of the flour. There was no flour for a whole week. It was not fun.
Yeah, so.
But there's flour now, and it's Friday. I solved the problem.
Did good things happen to you this week?
Yeah, I solved the flour problem. I look at that as a win. It's like that challenge that you get that you didn't want, but you got it anyways, and then you get it
You
done.
overcome it.
You overcome it. You look back at it. You say that wasn't really that bad. Um, I like to think of moments like this as small little wins. Um, and I put a new thing on our refrigerator that's a roadmap to us getting the bag.
Yep.
That's how I like to put it. It's a roadmap to me getting the bag because we started a business to make money, not just because we like cookie dough. We also like money. And I want to be honest about that. Everybody that started a business dreams of the exit that they one day will have. Don't let them delude you with their nonsense or I want to support this nonprofit. That's not why they started it. There's a reason they're only donating 1% of revenue. 1% of revenue is meaningless. If you really wanted to start a nonprofit or support them, you would have just started a nonprofit. I have a friend that started one. It's a nonprofit. It's a not for profit. There's no profit involved. But when you're running a business and you donate 1% of revenue, it's a tax write off and a really good marketing tactic. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on just smearing people and their, you know, what are those called? Virtue signaling.
Yes, virtue signals.
Yep, virtue signaling. That's what people do. And I won't be a part of it. Instead, I will, I'm going to signal the truth, which is that I would really like to grow no baked and sell cookie dough and do it in the right way. I think our product, by the way, is killer. And we also don't put any artificial junk like food dye in our product. Stop putting food dye in your food. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody cares. No one cares if your food is blue or orange or green. And if you want it to be orange, blue, or green, there are natural food dyes and they're not that much more expensive. Stop with the food dye and be honest about the fact that you really just want to make money while selling a decent product and providing value to people. And in return for the value you provide, you will get some money. And if you provide more value and solve a better problem, you'll get more money. And that's how life works. It's a really cool system. There's a lot of problems with it, but there's a really cool system there. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up. We'll see you guys next week because we're going to keep recording this every week and we're not going to stop. Right, Megan?
Right.
Okay, cool.
Goodbye.
We're going to go pick our kids up from school. Bye.